and turn time over to you.
All right. Well, I'm really excited to be here. This was something that I was really passionate about, right? So the talk tonight is about Beyond Breathe. And I had been really interested in respiratory health because for me, most of my life, I've had asthma, right? So asthma, allergies, that kind of stuff going on. And at this point, I guess I'm like technically like exercise induced or something like that. But I mean, if you not be able to run is kind of a big deal, like to be pretty active. And so having this kind of hold over me, right? This was kind of like one of those primary motivators. I thought like I had, when Leanne and I were first introduced to oils, I kind of had like my medication regimen, but I was a pretty active person, pretty healthy. And I was still spending probably like $50 a month on prescription drugs, right? Between like 2 inhalers and a pill for allergies. So, when people are, people just kind of get used to these like maintenance meds that they're on, and they're healthy, right? They're active, they're healthy, they're being proactive about engaging with their health, but they're still spending a lot of money just for pharmaceuticals, right? So whenever and I was like so resistant to change, right? So that's the craziest thing, was I thought that it couldn't get any better, right? Because that's what the doctor had told me. But the truth is that there are a lot of options, right? And in some ways, like the natural options are better, right? Especially they kind of work with your lifestyle. So it's kind of a do with process. You have to you might have to make some lifestyle changes if you want to replace like those kind of pharmaceutical interventions with more natural options. But in the end, you can get what you want, right? And like be able to get off those medications. So that's kind of my story. So I'm just wanted to kind of like do this talk because I want to start with kind of sharing some just kind of general respiratory health things. I think a lot of people are concerned about breathing, respiratory illnesses. It's a very, very hot topic right now. So I just kind of wanted to share some general tips on respiratory health, and then share a new non-oil thing that I have recently become kind of obsessed with, and then kind of get into the oils. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, everyone see that okay?
Looks great.
All right, great. Well, yeah, so for me, breathing is, like doctors, the things that it kind of, that it makes me think about in my life, right? Like I've had pneumonia like 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years, or the last, maybe, yeah, I don't know, Leanne's nodding her head. So something like that. I've had pneumonia a couple times. I had like lung issues growing up, right? So I would go to the hospital for that kind of thing. And it was like something I just thought I'd have to live with, right? So just like having medications. And so, but there are a lot of options out there kind of naturally to kind of reduce the kind of need for pharmaceuticals. So some of those are obviously tobacco products. You're just literally pouring smoke into your lungs, but it's the same thing, right? Like there's a lot of other like pollutants that we are kind of exposed to in our environment. So kind of minimizing that can have a big impact on your overall respiratory health. Also just like not getting sick, obviously we have a toddler, like, you're going to have to work on your environment as much as you can. And then another one that I thought was pretty cool was either adding more greenery to your home or like going through taking walks through like parks and stuff. Staying hydrated, so important for your lungs. You know, your lungs are they are able to transfer oxygen. Like the whole process of breathing is basically using like water, right? To this mucous membrane in your chest, you're just sucking oxygen in through your lungs, and so you got to stay hydrated to make sure that that's going to be, you know, really performing correctly. And the exercise, right? Like, so one of the things, even just like starting to go for a walk, you know, those kind of like habits will kind of build up, right? And so for me, when I've not just used less pharmaceuticals, but also used less oils, right? Needed less of that, that kind of that natural health, right? Is when I'm like have like an active like cardio activity, right? Like whether it's running, it doesn't have to be like a specific difficulty. It just has to be enough to kind of get your heart rate up, and do that for 20 to 30 minutes at a minimum. There's a lot of science out there about like these sort of high intensity trainings that are kind of like optimal, but honestly, just like going from 0 to anywhere is an improvement, right? And this new one that I am kind of obsessed with is the sauna. So sauna is a good way to kind of build up that respiratory health without moving. So, you know, if you're like, running isn't for me, if you have access to a sauna, then it can make a big difference in your overall respiratory health, as well as like a whole bunch of other things that people are looking to make changes in their lives and achieve, right? So lowering blood pressure, pain relief, improvements in mood. I was looking at some studies recently where they were actually using sauna interventions as a way to, instead of these mood stabilizers. So antidepressants, that kind of thing. So if you're not interested in high intensity exercise, just sitting in a hot room for 20 to 30 minutes can make a big improvement in your overall health, including respiratory function. So I just came from the sauna. I am kind of on cloud 9 right now. And it's something that I'm really passionate about right now. And it's something that pairs really well with essential oils, right? So you can kind of put some oils in your hands and kind of breathe that in. So,
Hey, John, can I ask what the difference is between a sauna and a steam room? Or are they the same thing?
so the picture is kind of steamy, but ultimately like dry or steam, I think it just depends on I'm sure that there's some kind of nuances there, but the most important thing for respiratory health is it induces this kind of cascade of genes that we have, like that kind of boost your immune system and reduce inflammation. So when we get sick, this whole cascade happens. It's called, use these things called heat shock proteins that are activated. And so you're able to kind of simulate that for your body of getting that fever by just going and using a sauna. So if you've ever like had like a fever and then your fever breaks, it feels similar to walking out of a sauna. Like that whole, your body is simulating that in this environmental change instead of this internal change, like when you're sick. And so there's this whole cascade of things that are improved by it. I think the mood thing, like mood, pay, like think about how much money and how many pharmaceuticals people use in their lives that you could just replace with this non-pharmaceutical intervention. It's huge, right? And if you want to get even more out of it, you can bring in these oils that we're going to talk about today for respiratory health in with you into the sauna to help really open up your lungs while you're using the sauna. So let's talk about breathe a little bit. So I know I kind of pitched this talk as beyond breathe, but I think it's worth talking about breathe first because so many of the oils that we want to use for respiratory health are in this little bottle of breathe. So I know we're not in the office like we used to be, passing around oils and getting to smell them, but I would still encourage you to put a couple drops, take a moment, put a couple drops in your hand, or whatever's handy, and just breathe that in. Just have a moment. I know not everyone has their cameras on, but just find an oil. Would you like to borrow some oil, Leanne? And let's get a little oiled up here, all right? So yeah, so this is breathe. And so many of the oils that are good for respiratory health are in breathe, right? So this is kind of the super respiratory blend. And a lot of the oils that you are going to want to use for all these different activities to kind of promote breathing and improving lung capacity are in here. So a lot of the suggestions that I would make are kind of basically dialing into one of these ingredients of breathe that might have a better effect for you, right? So for me, I notice peppermint and eucalyptus have kind of the biggest of effects. So I will use eucalyptus individually, right? So I will keep the single oil on hand. If I want something that's just going to open up my lungs, but not necessarily like stimulate me, right? And so here are a couple of ways. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment to kind of like show a couple of ways that you can use breathe and the other oils. So and take your oil, put a couple drops in the palm of your hand, and then breathe it in. So a couple of tips. So when you're making this cup, you want to put the oil in the palm, spread it around, and then keep it a little distance from your face. So you don't want to touch your eyes with something with peppermint in it, right? That can be a little too much. Some other things you can do, you can apply the oils on your chest and rub that in. You can also put it on the throat. And then one of the ones that I like to do, I'm going to do this with eucalyptus, is put it on a drop on my finger and put it right here at the corner, right here and here, or make a little mustache. So you don't want to do something like that. You want to use just a little bit. And that would be for something that not like peppermint, right? So something like eucalyptus, maybe lemon, something light, right? So not something, and you want to do it carefully. Alternatively, you can do a little oil mustache with, if you have a roller ball. That's another good one for respiratory oils. So once again, just be careful. Don't, make sure it's on the kind of bottom end. The more that it creeps upward to your eyes, a lot of these are gonna have really strong vapors and you could get it in your eyes, right? So you want to keep it just a little oil mustache, right? Let's go back to this. All right, so doTERRA's released singles for, I think, all of these at this point. So you can get peppermint, eucalyptus, melaleuca, or tea tree, lemon, and cardamom all the time. They've released laurel and ravinsara as kind of special releases. I've tried all these. I think that for me, like the peppermint, eucalyptus are the ones that are the most bang for your buck. And if you're bold, you can even try, and you're really having a hard time getting the most out of your peppermint, you can even put a drop on your tongue. I would typically recommend diluting that with water. So maybe put a drop or two in water and then use that to kind of like a mouthwash or to kind of gargle with. And either way, that's going to open up all of your sinuses. So that's a great way to use peppermint by itself. So you can kind of see that as you're kind of looking into breathe, there's kind of two things that breathe is doing. One of them, it's activating your respiratory system, and the other one, it's detoxifying the air. So you see that with tea tree and lemon are the ones that are like kind of cleansing the air, disinfecting, while the peppermint, eucalyptus are the ones that are primarily like opening everything up, right? And you can see that this is just for aromatic and topical use, although you can use peppermint internally, like I just said. All right, so let's talk about some other options besides breathe. So frankincense and Douglas fir are kind of at the top. So frankincense, it's one of the big cellular health anti-inflammatory oils. It's a great one for using both topically, maybe on your chest, also on the back of your neck, and diffusing it, or doing the little oil cup thing that I showed you earlier. Firs, there's been a lot of research that goes into this topic called forest bathing. This has come up at convention a couple of times, but just being around these trees has this very calming effect on people. And so you're able to kind of simulate that by breathing in tree oils like Douglas fir. Also, Douglas fir has a lot of these chemical, the firs have been shown to help calm your lungs and help improve respiratory capacity. I don't know why it's not in breathe, but it's a good one in addition to that. Also, as far as respiratory infections, that's something that's very topical right now. On Guard is going to be the oil of choice for that, right? And then if you're taking it internally, thyme and oregano will help as well. So you can also diffuse On Guard. That'll help with that kind of backing up those kind of air cleansing properties that we talked about with breathe. So those kind of cleansing properties.
Hey, John, there's not a lot of questions in the chat, but there's a lot of comments. So if you're not in the chat, everybody, you might want to be in the chat because people are just giving some good little tips here.
So I'll take a minute before we move on to kind of like go through these.
That'd be great because there are a couple of questions.
All right. So hi, everyone. Yeah. So, so sauna, steam room. Yeah. As far as the health benefits, my understanding is that the, you see a lot of those health benefits just from inducing that heat shock protein response. And that's, gets you that kind of like that list of benefits that was on there. There are a couple of different protocols, but I think that the kind of key is that kind of like time under heat. Eucalyptus in the steam rooms, that's great. Breathe touch. I really like the breathe touch, especially. That's one that I can kind of keep with me all the time. I mean, if you want to have the oils with you to use them, right? If you don't have them with you, you're probably not going to use them as much. The touch is something that I kind of keep in my bag for work. So those are some Becky has some great ideas for how to get the most out of your sauna with the oils. So that's great. And then the firs. If you can kind of summarize, Christine, I'm not super clear what you're talking about. What way? So anyway, if you can just kind of clarify your comment in the chat, I'll follow up here in a minute. So
I think she means, will they work the same as Douglas fir?
Yeah, so Douglas fir has a different, Douglas fir is going to be the best one for respiratory health. There's not as much overlap as you would think between Douglas fir and like Siberian fir and white fir. So Douglas fir is going to be the big one. Yeah, so what I found is that Douglas fir tends to come up on these lists more than like Siberian fir. So I'm not sure what of the chemical properties is kind of responsible for that, but I would stick with Douglas fir. Alternatively, you could try. I like eucalyptus a lot, but yeah, like eucalyptus and then just breathe itself. But yeah, there are some distinctions between the different firs. And then also, if you want to get the benefit, you see a listing, or you want to get the benefits of white fir, you can combine Siberian fir and lemon. and it is a pretty comparable makeup to white fur. All right. So, so one of the things that was not available when I started with doTERRA but I think is really cool, and I really wanted to share in the time that I had, was these respiratory wellness program, right? So when you just get started with doTERRA, you get an enrollment kit usually, and then you get on LRP, so the Loyalty Rewards Program. One of the great ways to get on the Loyalty Rewards Program now is these wellness programs, right? So they kind of make this LRP order really simple.
So John, just clarify, you don't have to get on the monthly order once you enroll. It's a wonderful option and there's benefits to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go through some of the benefits in the end, but I think that if you're using oils, it's definitely the best way to get started. So, so it's really, these wellness programs make it really easy. You just pick one of them that you want to work on, including like immune system, digestion, respiratory health. I'm just going to pick which one of those is going to be most relevant in your life, and then you just get started. So, and they ship every month for the first 3 months you're in, and then you can get on a regular LRP order with other different products after that. And they're priced, as you can see out here, they're priced so that you can kind of add on additional products that kind of fit your needs, in addition to the respiratory health.
So John, I'm sorry to keep jumping in. I just wanted to clarify, I've never done this. And recently I put the kit into my order, my shopping cart, and it gives you a discount on a whole bunch of other items that will help you. And I didn't know that. So getting being on one of these wellness programs where you get things that will help you in this area for 3 months in a row also give you other benefits and options to get good deals.
That's awesome. I mean, I love the way that they kind of synergize everything.
Yep.
They want you to get the most out of it, right? So in addition to, the respiratory health kit, so Breathe doesn't come with all of the enrollment kits. So since Breathe is the oil that's kind of designed for respiratory health, it's the one that is going to be at the top of the list. So this first, so in the first month on the wellness program, you're going to get the Breathe shipped out to you, as well as these drops, right? So these drops are like lozenges. And in addition to the kind of the internally usable components of Breathe, it also comes with Melissa, which is a very useful immune boosting essential oil. And it's quite pricey. So it's not one that you're usually going to get it when you're starting to build your collection. So it's great to have that in the drops. The beadlets are little capsules of the oil. If you've never tried one, they can be quite spicy if you want to bite into them, or you can just take them like a pill. The lime, so lime is really good for easing like a sore throat or coughing. So in the Breathe, there's lemon. Lime is another really great one for kind of cleansing the air, as well as kind of using it internally. So lime's another great one for respiratory health too. And then it comes with this personal aroma diffuser. So if you kind of see here in the middle, it's a stick. And so it's one of these kind of static diffusers. So basically you just kind of put the oil on like a cotton stick, and it kind of soaks it up, and it'll just diffuse that scent throughout the day. And then what I thought was cool was that it comes with this downloadable PDF. So this PDF is just really, really beautiful pictures. Walks you through how to use all of the products. Oh, and the cardamom. Oh, yeah, the cardamom is fantastic. So cardamom is one that it's delicious. So it's a great one for teas. But it's also a good one for breathing in, right? So it's one that, so just like peppermint, it's one that you can take internally. You can make a tea out of it. You can kind of, or you can, just like we showed you, kind of, if you tend to see more benefit out of the cardamom, you can kind of use that aromatically. All right, so that's what happens in month 1. Month 2, you're gonna get these other products. So Tri-Ease is a blend of lemon, lavender, and peppermint. And it is fantastic for allergies. So these are the soft gels of those. So if you are kind of on the go, or you are trying to get somebody in your family use oils and they're just used to taking pills, having these soft gels is a great way to be able to introduce someone to essential oils. And then there's also this, just like the cotton sticks, there's this passive shower diffuser. So it's just a beautiful little diffuser disc you can stick in your shower, put some oils on to help kind of like add to that steam effect. Yeah, so cardamom in your coffee. That's Patty's suggestion. Laurel leaf is another one. We have laurel leaf. I've been using it a little bit. It's definitely laurel leaf and ravinsura are some of the more fainter like parts of breathe. And I think you can take it internally too. So yeah. Yep, cardamom in your chai tea. And then like I said, the breathe touch, right? So breathe touch, great. Do a little oil mustache. And then eucalyptus, right? So eucalyptus, I like a lot. And then month 3, you're gonna get a car clip diffuser, right? So they got you in your pocket, they got you in your shower, they got you in the car. So I don't know where else you're gonna be that you're gonna need to diffuse, but I'm sure they'll add that in future months. So like I said, On Guard is another great one for this general immune health. And then here we go with the AirX. So AirX is a new formulation. It's similar to On Guard, but it has a completely different, similar to Breathe in that it's a respiratory focused blend, but it has a completely different set of oils.
It's awesome.
Yeah, Leanne loves it a lot. It's one of our big diffuser ones. And then, yeah, peppermint. So you basically have all of the oils, I think, except for frankincense, that are specifically for that are on that list. Oh, and I guess Douglas fir, right? That are for singles and blends for respiratory health by the end of this 3-month program. And you're ready to use it on your car, shower, on your person. And they also include the vapor sticks. The vapor sticks are kind of, if you're used to like a I don't know what, like Vicks Vapor Rub, the vapor sticks are pretty similar to that. Yeah, so that's the wellness program. I think we had all the singles by the time that these programs came out, so they weren't for us. But if you have a friend that's getting started, it's a great way to help them kind of like round out that collection and make sure that they have everything they need. So like Shalene mentioned, this is the loyalty rewards program ordered. So these are, if you notice, they were $100 and they were 75 PV. So the PV stands for point value, and it's what's used to kind of calculate the benefits for the LRP program. So at 75 PV, you'll start to get points back that you can use for a product. If you are trying to earn some commission, you can just add a couple other things into your cart. And if you go up to 125 PV, it'll be the free product of the month. So it's definitely worth getting on LRP when you get started. It's the best way to buy oils and you get points back. So it starts at 10% for your points back in product, and it goes up to 30%. So between that and your wholesale discount, you're getting up to a 50% discount within the first year. So it's definitely the way to get oils. All right, so I feel like we've been dealing with handling questions in the chat, but I think that this is a good time to kind of capture anything that I didn't cover. I've kind of stopped dialing so into the kind of nitty gritty science talks, but I'm happy to dive into that at any moment. So if you just take a couple minutes, put that in the chat, and then I'll take a couple questions. And while you guys are thinking about your questions, I'll go into pitching the next big thing that I have going on, which is the Cleanse and Restore Yourself Challenge. So the cleanse, so we're going to be doing a cleanse starting on the 27th. So we're going to do an intro class on the 27th, and then we'll actually kick off the cleanse on the 7th. So
Yep,
we'll be
and
using,
this is not a Tuesday meeting. This is a Thursday meeting. I thought they started at 8 p.m. our time on Thursdays.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
It's 8
I might
p.m.
need to check that.
Yeah, so it's 8 p.m. I have the wrong picture up here. But yeah, so I fixed that on the announcement on Facebook, but I forgot to change it on this image. So yeah, so 8 p.m. on there. And we're gonna be going over the products on the right. We'll be using those for 30 days. And it'll help kind of dial in your, really make some improvements to like boosting your filtering organs like liver, kidneys, spleen, that kind of stuff. And then at the same time, and then transition to really improving both your metabolic health, but also your microbiome. Really promoting healthy gut flora, cleansing like the old gut flora, and then building back in some healthy gut flora. So it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be doing a lot of social media posting to kind of help share both some other healthy habits like the sauna usage, and a couple other ones I have that are gonna be surprises. In addition to that, as well as the kind of how to use the Cleanse and Restore Kit and the doTERRA's nutrition products. So, all right. So do we have any questions? Shalene, do you have any questions?
I'm
John.
Go ahead.
Oh. Hey, John, I have a question. It's Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Actually, well, I first want to say that I absolutely love your picture on your wall of the tower with the moon. Go UT.
Yeah.
And secondly, I was wondering, for me, and you're the scientist here, for me right now to be in a sauna with anybody else, it seems like germs would be spreading around and like going through the air.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk to that?
Yeah, sure. So there are IR saunas. So this is a kind of a tricky time, right? So public saunas are, I think that if you are concerned, I would definitely stay away from public saunas. There's just no way to properly like.
Why don't you talk about vaccines?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about vaccines. So I'm just gonna.
Talk about it for like a minute.
Okay, Leanne wants me to talk about vaccines.
Hey, I'm vaccinated and all of that.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. So I mean, I feel like, I think this COVID's kind of a little outside of the scope of this class. But is there a safer temperature for sauna? Basically, like saunas are tricky. You're basically going to be using whatever. You're going to be in the environment with whoever was in there, right? So whoever's breathing, whoever's like sweating, it's just
right.
They're filthy places. So if you are like risk averse, I would encourage you to find a way to. There are sauna tents you can get. There's also IR sauna. You can also try to find some places that they're recovery. So there's also like recovery themed places. They're a little bit more expensive, but you can kind of get that.
Okay, yeah, but not just like going to the sauna at the gym and.
Yeah, so there are options like that they're a little bit pricier, but they're a little bit safer. So if you're more risk averse, like there's definitely options out there right now. So, but yeah, safer temperatures. Are you talking about for contamination? Yeah, I think it's like 160 to 180. It'll kill bacteria, but it's not gonna kill them really fast. It's not gonna kill viruses. It's not, yeah. So they're filthy places. They should get decontaminated pretty quickly.
Okay, John, I know you're not a COVID expert, but you've just been through it. So has Leanne.
Yeah.
Is the respiratory, people are asking me almost every day, what oil should I have on hand? Because everybody's getting it. I've noticed that it's not quite as respiratory problem.
Yeah. So, so a lot of the protocols that I've seen, I'm happy. I can talk about COVID for hours. I don't know. So I think about a lot, but I didn't want to like run down the clock talking about COVID since we're talking about, but since it is respiratory related, I'll kind of dip into that. So, I guess I did get it. I was asymptomatic for the most part. I had like a runny nose, but Leanne had it. She's pretty tired. So I would say that the kind of the big stuff for what to keep on hand. I think that, so I would say Lifelong Vitality Pack, because that's going to have stuff for the nutrition, so zinc, vitamin D, those are kind of big ones on the nutrition side. Also inflammation, that's a lot to do with it. it's a virus. It's super random how it affects people, but we've seen that like, being able to induce your anti-inflammatory pathways can have a huge impact on your outcome, right? So I would say, kind of building up. Also, you never know when you're going to get it, right? And probably at some point, everybody's going to get it. So you want to like kind of like stack the deck in your favor. So be able to kind of build up that like solid base of nutrition is really important, right? And so I would encourage people to make sure that they have, that they're on the vitamins or the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which is way more than just vitamins, as a kind of starting place. And then as far as what oils, Breathe is a good one for, obviously, it's a great one for respiratory health. Beyond that, kind of like I would look at the doTERRA's Daily Habits Kit. That's going to have some great suggestions for daily On Guard usage. When I have peppermint, yeah, you can use peppermint to kind of help with the fever. I would also suggest frankincense internally every day, On Guard internally every day. And then I think
the On Guard chewable tablets are a good thing too.
Yeah, we went through a ton of On Guard Plus. And then the other one that I think, so this is another combination. I included it on the slide about On Guard, but On Guard plus oregano and thyme. Oregano and thyme, there's a lot of research that kind of has looked into the both synergistic effects of On Guard, of oregano and thyme. So it's cavacrol is the primary component of oregano, and thymol is the primary component of thyme. They have these really great synergistic antiviral effects. So if you're going to take, like, there's been some studies on On Guard, not to show that that's antiviral as well. So I would say those three are probably the ones that I would strongly encourage. Viral load doesn't perfectly track with morbidity and pathogenicity, but like if you reduce your viral load, you're probably gonna have a better time of it. So those, Breathe just on as well in case you're gonna have some respiratory symptoms. Yeah.
I really appreciate it, John. There's so many people that want to have a natural answer and solution of something to take instead of.
Yeah. And so if the other one, and I'm glad that Lee mentioned it, is the On Guard chewable tablets. Because this is one that doTERRA didn't pitch it as COVID, but it's like, if you look at the ingredients, it's basically like your daily, like, it's the micronutrients that are specifically like zinc and vitamin D plus On Guard. And so it's like basically designed for being able to just, take it, chew it every day. They taste great. I blew through my packs really fast. They're delicious, better than candy. So, and better for you. So, yeah. So any other kind of questions? Yeah, awesome.
We're good. Thanks so much, John.
Sorry. All right, well, I will pass the time over to my wife right over here.
It's time for a business meeting, but I just wanted to say that next week is the last Tuesday of January. And normally we have an in-person in my home and a make and take. We are going to do something a little bit different this time. If you're interested in participating in the allergy make and take, there will be a little bag of goodies on my doorstep starting Monday night, and you can pick it up anytime Tuesday, take it home. And I'm going to do a short Zoom, same time, same channel next Tuesday night, and show you how to put the allergy blend together. But you're going to get a little sample allergy blend from my front porch if you would like it. Okay, so we're going to do it a little bit different. Just try and be careful during this time where COVID is a little higher, and see if we can make that work this next Tuesday night. Sound good? Thanks for all coming, you guys. And John, thanks for the great info. And feel free to drop off unless you'd like to stay on for a short business meeting for the next 10 minutes. And we love sharing these natural things. I know I'm sick, but man, I couldn't have survived this last time without the oils. I've been so blessed, and I'm so thankful to have them under my roof and on hand. Thanks, John.